Hello, welcome to the special episode of Risky Conversations with Jamie Lee. I'm an executive coach for mid-career women who hate office politics, and I help them get promoted, get better paid without throwing anyone under the bus. And you know what? I'm also an integrative hypnotist. And in my one-on-one coaching practice, I blend both the best of executive coaching principles with some of the most cutting-edge, science-based hypnotic trances to help my clients achieve change not just at the conscious level, but at the subconscious level. Because according to neuroscientists, our conscious minds, the mind chatter that we usually hear, that's only about 10% of our brain's capacity. The rest is subconscious. According to my mentor, James Tripp, his name is spelled Tripp. We have at least 6 different intelligence systems within us. He says we have number 1, conceptual intelligence system. Number 2, metaphoric intelligence systems. Our language is laden with metaphors. We speak many metaphors in our day-to-day conversations. I really feel like we connected. We went deep. I'm going to be out of pocket for a week, right? These are all metaphors. We also use episodic intelligence system, our ability to recall memory, right? That's very important when you are a manager or an executive. But beyond that, we also have social intelligence, the capacity to be able to read the room, and we have interoceptive intelligence systems within us. The interoceptive intelligence system is our capacity to be able to realize, to connect and feel what we feel from our gut, within our bodies, right? What am I feeling inside? That lunch, that tuna sandwich I ate for lunch, it's not sitting so well. Or, I'm feeling really inspired by this TED Talk. I'm feeling this sense of expansion from my chest and into my throat. That's an interoceptive system intelligence that's working. And it's very, very important when we are leaders, when we are managers, to be able to access all of these intelligence systems as well as our somatic intelligence systems, our capacity to notice how we feel and how we exude different energy when we shift our bodies, our posture, right? And be able to read other people's body languages and notice their gestures, right? That's also something that is really important for executive presence because it helps you maintain that presence, but also be able to read the room. And that's very important for being able to influence others, not just through words, but through your energy and through your body language. Having said that, I have received a special request from one of my clients, SJ. Shout out to SJ. This is going to be a trance experience that will enable you to access different, deeper intelligence systems within you. So before I get started and share this experience with you, I want to remind you that the best time and place to do this experience is not when you are out and about, walking in the park or driving your car. Probably the best time to do this is when you can have some alone and you can sit comfortably, be undisturbed in a quiet setting. So, before we get started, I'm going to invite you to think of one reaction or a repeated pattern that you notice within you. And maybe it's feeling kind of anxious or dread when you think about this one particular colleague. Or maybe it's dreading or not looking forward to a presentation that is something you can really easily do. The more specific that reaction, the context of that reaction, the more specific that repeated pattern that you want to change, the better. So I'm going to ask you to keep that specific pattern or reaction in mind. And as you keep that thing in your mind, I'm going to invite you to simply put your two palms, face them, have them face up, and bring them together in front of you and slowly and gently rub them. And you could, vigorously rub them together or slowly and gently, just rub them. Whichever feels comfortable for you. You can't do this wrong. Slowly and gently pull them apart. And notice if you can feel that tingling sensation, that sense of aliveness, maybe some heat within those two palms. And what I like to do is while those two palms are separated and you're holding them in front of you, move them around without touching, almost as if you have an invisible ball that you're rolling between those two palms. And what I notice is that immediately I sense this magnetic tingling energy that is shifting at the tips of my fingers. And that's kind of trippy, because it's this field of energy that's been created out of thin air. And according to science, we do know that our hands our bodies emit electromagnetic energy. So you're sort of feeling that. Isn't that kind of cool and trippy? Whenever you feel comfortable, I'm going to invite you to sit comfortably. And imagine you can make yourself just 1% more comfortable where you are. And then open those two palms, have them face up, and place them down on your lap, almost like a meditative pose. And you can sit back, you can sit up. Again, you can't do this wrong. Make yourself comfortable. And if you are comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes. And now bring all of your attention to your right open palm. And there's nothing for you to do. You simply observe what you feel, what you notice in that right palm. And maybe there's some residual heat, some tingling, some aliveness. So all you have to do is just bring your attention and focus to that. And now bring your attention and focus to the inside of your right elbow. And again, nothing for you to do, just notice what's there. Now bring all that attention and focus to your right shoulder, and perhaps you can even imagine that your attention and focus bring some relaxation to that shoulder. And again, we just notice what's there. And then bring that attention and focus to your left shoulder, to the inside of your left elbow, and to your left open palm. And now, I invite you to bring your attention to the space between those two palms. And now the space between your right palm and your right elbow. The space between your right elbow and your right shoulder. All that space between those two shoulders. Notice the space between your left shoulder and your left elbow, your left elbow and your left palm, and again to all that space between those two palms. And according to quantum physicists, all we are is space. So now bring your attention to the space between your right palm and your right shoulder, and again to all that space between those two shoulders. And bring your attention to your left shoulder, and the space between the left shoulder and your left palm. And as you're noticing the sensation and what you can notice about all that space, now let's engage your deeper mind. Let's engage the deeper levels of intelligence within you. And let's ask your deeper mind, what might be the positive intention beneath that particular reaction, that particular pattern? And you don't have to say anything. There's nothing for you to do instead of just noticing what comes up. And if you have an idea of what that is, just as a gesture, a symbolic gesture to yourself, give yourself a nod. And now, once again, let's ask that deeper mind, what might be a better feeling alternative that satisfies that positive intention? And maybe you have an inkling, maybe you have a vague idea, and it's totally okay if nothing comes up in this moment too. Just allow yourself to sit with that question and notice what rises to the surface. And if you have an idea of what that better feeling alternative could be, now I invite you to just imagine a movie screen in your mind and see a future version of you in the near future utilizing that better feeling alternative. And if that feels satisfying, once again, just as a way to engage your somatic intelligence, give yourself a nod. And now I invite you to bring all your attention and focus to your belly. According to scientists, we know that there are thousands and thousands of neurons in the gut. It processes serotonin, the good feeling hormone. So it's almost as if there is a brain in your gut. And now when you bring your attention to your gut, what does the brain in your belly want you to know about this? And perhaps you have an idea, or maybe it's just a feeling, or maybe it's a color, or maybe it's a sensation, or maybe it's a message. If you have an idea, give yourself a nod to anchor in that knowing. And now bring all of your attention and focus to your heart. Again, scientists let us know there are thousands and thousands of nerves right in the heart. It processes oxytocin, the bonding hormone. So now when you bring your attention and focus to your heart space, what does the brain in your heart want you to know about this? Perhaps it's different to what the brain in your gut wanted you to know, and perhaps it's similar. Perhaps it's a message. Maybe it's just an inkling. You can't do this wrong. If you have an idea, once again, give yourself a nod to anchor in that knowledge. And now, when your gut knows what the gut knows, and the heart knows what the heart knows, when you bring your attention and focus to the brain in your head, what does the brain want you to know about this? And again, it could be something different. It could be something new. It could be something similar. If you have an idea, give yourself a nod. And knowing that these deeper levels of intelligence works fast and deep, and it is vast. And sometimes the integration happens as you're sleeping, or as you're going about your day, as you wash your dishes, as you dream, and as you wake up. Just trusting in that process. Whenever you feel ready, you might want to take a big stretch, and with a smile, you can open your eyes. I hope you enjoyed this experience. And if you'd like to learn more about my coaching practice, come on over to jamieleecoach.com. It's spelled JAMIELEECOACH.com. I'll talk to you soon.